Hello and welcome back to AbsurdLand. What you're about to see may look ordinary at first, but every image hides a story that makes it far more disturbing than it seems. Moments after Malcolm X was assassinated, police circles mark bullet holes behind the stage at New York's Audubon Ballroom on February 21st, 1965. Malcolm X had just been shot while speaking. 3 gunmen opened fire in front of hundreds of witnesses. He was hit 21 times and died before reaching the hospital. Machete scars from the Rwandan genocide. This Hutu man was attacked by his own people in July 1994 for refusing to slaughter Tutsi. The scars run deep. One took off the top of his right ear. After President Habyarimana's plane was shot down over Kigali, Hutu slaughtered nearly 1 million Tutsi within weeks. Then the tide turned and Tutsi retaliation sent hundreds of thousands of Hutu fleeing into Zaire and Tanzania. Ed Gein's human skin gloves. The Plainfield, Wisconsin man's murders in the mid-1950s were so shockingly macabre they inspired the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho. He robbed graves, butchered innocent women, and made furniture and clothing from body parts. When police raided his home in 1957, they found mutilated bodies, bowls made of skulls, a lampshade made of a face, and gloves made of human skin. The Amityville Ghost Boy, captured inside the horror house in 1976. After the DeFeo murders, new owner George Lutz claimed the home was haunted and called in Ed and Lorraine Warren. One night, their automatic camera on the second floor caught what appeared to be a ghostly boy staring back. Some believe it's the ghost of young John DeFeo, murdered in the house by his brother years earlier. Robert F. Kennedy's final moments. Clutching his rosary beads, Senator Kennedy lies mortally wounded on the floor of the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles on June 5, 1968. Sirhan Sirhan, a man who disagreed with Kennedy's backing of Israel, had just shot him. Kennedy died the next day. The last lifeboat leaving the Titanic. Approaching the rescue ship Carpathia soon after the sinking on April 15, 1912. Over 1,500 people went down with the ship. This lifeboat carried some of the lucky 706 survivors. The sole survivor of a family massacre at sea, Terry Jo Duperrault, photographed days after her rescue in November 1961. Captain Julian Harvey killed his wife for insurance money, then murdered Terry Jo's entire family to eliminate witnesses. When Harvey learned she survived, he killed himself. Russian peasants with cannibalized human remains in 1921. The Russian famine followed the revolution and war communism. The government confiscated food from peasants, leaving them to starve. Desperate to survive, people dug up bodies to consume the flesh. In Buzaluk, a children's home crammed 654 kids into space for 50. A real shrunken head from South America, photographed before 1936. The Shure and Achuar people believed shrinking a head contained the Muisak's power, the soul determined to avenge death. The process involved peeling off skin, removing the skull, and filling with hot sand repeatedly. The lips and eyes were sewn shut. The slaughter of quail in Texas, 1914. 4 men covered their car end to end with dead game birds. Quail waged war on the cotton boll weevil, destroying Texas crops. But hunters slaughtered them anyway, causing $25 million per year in crop losses. A haunting statue in Père Lachaise Cemetery, photographed in 1964. This monument honors victims of Buchenwald Dora concentration camp. At its base, a poem reads, "Let this forever show how the man had to fall, and how courage and devotion maintain his name of man." The cemetery holds Oscar Wilde, Jim Morrison, and roughly 1 million others. a witch's whistle made from rat bones around 1899, called a hexen fluid, purportedly used by witches to drive away plague-carrying rodents. In case of rat infestation, people called on a sender who possessed magical power to make rats move elsewhere. The plague could be the work of a witch or sorcerer. A nightmare scene from The Teddy Bears in 1907. This 13-minute silent film presented Goldilocks but incorporated President Roosevelt's life. He refused to shoot a wounded bear in 1902, creating the teddy bear craze. The irony? Roosevelt killed over 500 animals on safaris. But these bears standing in bedclothes are genuinely unsettling. Anatoly Moskvin's mummified girl dolls. On the outside, he appeared respectable, advanced degree, spoke 13 languages, contributing author to Russian publications. In 2011, authorities found 29 corpses in his home of victims aged 3 to 25. The most chilling discovery? He'd turned them into dolls, covering their skin in fabric, makeup, and clothing, and putting music boxes into their chests. BTK Killer's secret bondage photos. Boy Scout leader and church council president Dennis Rader appeared to be a loyal husband and proud father. But between 1974 and 1991, he murdered 10 people in and around Wichita, Kansas. Self-described as BTK, bind, torture, kill. When captured in 2005, authorities found his secret stash of bondage photos where he'd photographed himself in the paraphernalia he used on victims. Ford's Theater the day after Lincoln was shot. April 15, 1865. Actor John Wilkes Booth had shot Lincoln in the head the night before. He was carried to the Peterson House, where doctors determined his death was inevitable. When the theater tried to reopen in July, public threats forced postponement. It didn't show plays again until 1968. The hideout where they found Osama bin Laden. Pakistani media and local residents gather outside the compound in Abbottabad on May 2, 2011. U.S. Navy SEALs had just killed the world's most wanted terrorist inside this once secret location. He'd been hiding in plain sight, right next to Pakistan's military academy. One survivor helping another after the London bombings, following the terrorist attacks that killed 56 and injured nearly 800 on July 7, 2005. 4 suicide bombers struck London's public transport system during rush hour. The city's emergency services were overwhelmed. San Francisco in ruins after the earthquake. Locals survey the damage on Sacramento Street on April 18, 1906. The earthquake killed 3,000, left 225,000 homeless, and destroyed 90% of the city. It remains the second deadliest disaster in American history. Secret Service agent jumps to protect the president. Clint Hill leaps aboard the presidential limo to shield JFK and the First Lady moments after the gunshot on November 22, 1963 in Dallas. The president was already dead or dying. Hill's desperate action came too late. Pointing toward Martin Luther King Jr.'s killer, civil rights leader Andrew Young and others on the balcony of Memphis's Lorraine Motel on April 4, 1968. They're pointing in the direction of the unknown assailant whose bullet had just fatally struck Dr. King, who's lying at their feet. James Earl Ray fired from a boarding house across the street. Celebrating the end of Prohibition. Old Man Prohibition hangs in effigy above New York streets just after repeal on December 5, 1933. After 13 years, Americans could legally drink again. The failed experiment had created organized crime empires and widespread corruption. A survivor after the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. A man suffering from smoke inhalation stands outside on February 26, 1993. A truck bomb in the underground garage killed 6 and injured over 1,000. It was a precursor to the devastation that would come 8 years later. The Florida skunk ape, anonymously sent to Sarasota County Sheriff's Department on December 29, 2000. The woman who mailed this claimed the ape-like creature made whooping noises for 3 straight nights, had an awful smell, then fled. Florida's version of Bigfoot was reportedly first sighted in 1942. This remains the most convincing evidence of its existence. Radium Girls, glowing in the dark. Hundreds of young women who worked in American watch factories during the 1920s were exposed to so much radium they came home glowing. They painted watch faces with luminous radium paint, licking their brushes to keep fine points. Their vertebrae collapsed, their jaws swelled up and fell off, and they died slowly in agony from cancer. The last portrait of the Lawson family. This snapshot was taken mere days before patriarch Charlie Lawson, the man standing second from the right, murdered everyone pictured here on Christmas Day 1929. Only 16-year-old Arthur, top left, managed to escape. Charlie killed his wife and 6 of his 7 children, then shot himself. Wedding rings stolen from the dead. U.S. troops discovered thousands of wedding rings at Buchenwald in April 1945. The Nazis had stripped these from prisoners to melt down for gold. This photo shows just a fraction: rings, watches, precious stones, eyeglasses, gold fillings. Everything stolen before murder. The Salem UFO photograph, captured on the morning of August 3, 1952, by Shell Alpert at Salem's Coast Guard Air Station. 4 unidentified flying objects appear to hover across the skies over Winter Island and Cat Cove areas in Massachusetts. Some claim they're reflections in the window. Others point to similar sightings throughout the 1950s. The truth remains a mystery. The rape of Nanjing atrocities. Starting in December 1937, Japanese troops invaded the Chinese city and committed unspeakable horrors. Within weeks, they raped as many as 80,000 people and killed up to 350,000. Beheading by katana, as seen here, was regular. 2 Japanese soldiers even held a contest to see who could kill 100 people with their sword first. Newspapers covered it like a sporting event. Beck Weathers, the frozen man who survived Everest. In May 1996, climber Beck Weathers got stuck in a blizzard with wind chill 100 degrees below zero during his Everest ascent. He fell into a hypothermic coma. Frostbite destroyed his nose and hands, both later amputated. Miraculously, he survived, walked back to camp, and was airlifted out. "Initially, I thought I was in a dream," he recalled. "Then I saw how badly frozen my right hand was." The real hotel that inspired The Shining. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, seen here under construction in the early 1900s. In 1911, an unexplained explosion left a chambermaid maimed. After her death years later, guests reported seeing her ghost in room 217, the exact room where Stephen King stayed in October 1974, inspiring him to write The Shining. Starved prisoners at liberation. Severely emaciated prisoners at a Nazi camp in Ebensee, Austria in 1945. Part of the main Mauthausen camp, it was reportedly established for scientific experiments. Conditions were so dire that inmates died at a rate of 2,000 per week. The 81st Division of the U.S. Army liberated the camp that year. The bodies frozen in Pompeii's final moments. Excavations in Pompeii, photographed in 1961. Using Giuseppe Fiorelli's technique, over 1,000 victims of the 79 AD eruption have been recorded since 1863. These casts capture people in their final moments as volcanic ash buried them alive. The mysterious disappearance of Tara Calico. On September 20th, 1988, the 19-year-old left her New Mexico home for her daily bike ride and never came back. In June 1989, a mysterious Polaroid turned up in a Florida parking lot nearly 1,500 miles away. It appears to show Calico, based on matching scars and the dog-eared paperback, and a young boy, both bound, gagged, and terrified. She's never been found. Human zoos in America. Filipinos in loincloths sitting at Coney Island in the early 20th century as crowds gawked from behind barriers. Similar setups were staged across the US and Europe, creating human zoos where spectators jeered at what they deemed primitive ways of life. Bloody Saturday in Shanghai. A Chinese baby sits crying in the wreckage of the bombed-out South Railway Station in 1937. The baby's mother is lying dead just out of frame. The Japanese had just bombed civilians fleeing the city. Although the baby received medical treatment, no one knows the sex or whether they survived. Hitler celebrating the start of World War I. A young Adolf Hitler in Munich's Odeonsplatz on August 2, 1914, celebrating among thousands in the crowd. Photographer Heinrich Hoffmann scoured hundreds of photos trying to find Hitler and almost threw this glass negative in the bin before spotting him. Children condemned to death at S21 prison. This chilling collection of photographs was recovered from the notorious prison south of Phnom Penh. Around 14,000 photos were found, all prisoners condemned to death by Cambodia's Khmer Rouge security police after they seized power in 1975. Families used these photos trying to find out what happened to their loved ones. Almost none survived. Dummy heads from the Alcatraz escape. June 11, 1962. Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin placed these fake heads on their pillows before escaping. Made from soap, concrete dust, bed sheets, and hair from the prison hairdresser. They disappeared into San Francisco Bay and were never seen alive again. Born with hair covering her entire body. Julia Pastrana, born in Mexico in 1834, was a singer and performer with hypertrichosis terminalis. Straight black hair grew all over her face and body. She also had gingival hyperplasia, which massively enlarged her gums. Both conditions were extremely rare, with gingival hyperplasia virtually unheard of at that time. Exorcising evil spirits from a sick boy. An Eskimo medicine man, also known as an Aglegmiut shaman, with a sick boy in Nushagak, Alaska, 1912. The caption read, "Working to beat the devil." Despite being forbidden by Christian missionaries, these ceremonial costumes with masks and outsized hands were still made and used by the Aglegmiut people. Vietnamese women and children moments before their murder. Minutes after this photo, American soldiers killed them during the My Lai massacre. Between 347 and 504 unarmed civilians were murdered that day. Photographed by U.S. Army photographer on March 16, 1968. There are places where the rules of civilization simply cease to exist. This peculiar footage was allegedly captured on an isolated prairie farm where physical endurance and flexibility were tested using radical, almost ritualistic methods: the tension of the body, the middle of nowhere, and an unknown observer. This is essentially all the information circulating about this photograph, though its authenticity remains questionable. A Mongolian man with a kangwe locked around his neck on July 24, 1913. This wooden restraint prevented him from eating or resting properly, a brutal punishment used in Mongolia and China, typically applied for minor crimes. Colonel Andrei Vasilievich Jaludov on his deathbed in 2010. Wounded 3 times in combat, awarded the Order of Glory, Order of the Red Star, Medal for the Liberation of Sevastopol, and 2 medals for military merit. A decorated Soviet war hero spending his final moments. Radium Girls poisoned by their work. Before radioactive dangers were known, women worked as Radium Girls in 1922, hand-painting watch dials with luminous radium paint. Most suffered severe radiation poisoning, anemia, cancer, and jaw decay from prolonged exposure without safety gear. 11-year-old gangster Robert Sandifer's mugshot, Chicago, 1994. The only known photo of him before his death. Sandifer killed a 14-year-old schoolgirl while shooting at rival gang members. Days later, 2 teenage fellow gangsters murdered him. His short, violent life got national attention. 525 people dragging a megalith. On the island of Nias in 1915, villagers in Bawamataluo drag a massive stone to honor a deceased prominent individual. According to legend, it took 525 people 3 days to raise this stone. A ritual feast allowed the deceased to join their ancestors in the afterlife. Monks dancing to scare away evil spirits. A Sam mask dance in Urga, Mongolia, around 1925. Monks performed in heavy robes and sacred masks while horns, cymbals, and drums provided rhythm. The tradition was meant to purify the community. By the 1930s, it was suppressed, making these images rare records of a dying practice. Children breaking coal with their bare hands. Breaker boys at coal breakers in 1911, photographed by Louis Wicks Hine for the National Child Labor Committee. Working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, boys picked slate and impurities from coal with bare hands. By 1920, improved machinery and tighter laws ended this practice. Recording the MGM lion's roar. Shot between 1928 and 1929, this shows Jackie, MGM's Leo, in his soundproof booth-sized cage. A cameraman and soundman work beside him in this unnervingly intimate setup. Handlers prodded and coaxed roars out of Jackie, close enough to be in grave danger if he lashed out. Painting the Brooklyn Bridge with no safety gear. Painters suspended on the bridge cables in 1914. The bridge took 14 years and over 600 workers to build. Over 20 workers died from falling, being hit by debris, or getting caisson disease. These painters worked with absolutely no safety equipment. The mushroom cloud over Hiroshima. Rising over the city 2 to 3 minutes after the atomic bombing on August 6, 1945. The blast killed 80,000 people instantly and leveled the city. By year's end, radiation sickness would bring the death toll to over 140,000. Warriors performing a war dance for a king. The 28th Maori Battalion in Helwan, Egypt, around 1941, performing a haka for the King of Greece. These soldiers had just fought against German invasion in Greece. The haka, a traditional Maori war dance, became their way to honor allies and intimidate enemies. Einstein in a staged tourist photo. Albert Einstein and his wife Elsa at the Grand Canyon in 1931. This wasn't at a Hopi Mesa, but at Hopi House, part of the El Tovar Hotel. A common tourist scene. Even the feathered headdress and pipe weren't Hopi culture. They belonged to Plains Indian tribes. A monk crossing a 2-chain bridge in China, carefully crossing at Union Sea, Cloud Rock Temple in 1930. The precarious bridge had one chain as the footway and another as the handrail. It was one of 2 daunting routes to reach the Sutra Library perched on a cliff. The first underwater portrait ever taken. Romanian scientist Emil Racovița poses underwater in 1899 off Banyuls-sur-Mer. He's holding a slate reading Photographie sous-marine to prove the shot was taken below the surface. French pioneer Louis Boutin captured this groundbreaking image, launching the era of underwater photography. Women delivering ice during World War I. 2 young women on September 16, 1918, lugging a massive block of ice with tongs. This was traditionally men's work due to how physically demanding it was. But with men at war, women took over the job. Opening Tutankhamun's burial shrine. Harry Burton photographed the moment in 1923 when the doors of the fourth shrine inside the burial chamber were finally opened. The protective goddesses with outstretched wings on the doors proved they'd reached the heart of the shrines. Behind them lay the sarcophagus. Unearthing a Viking burial ship. Archaeologist Gabriel Gustafsson and his team excavating the Oseberg burial mound in 1904. The Viking-era discovery included the Oseberg ship, wooden and metal artifacts, textiles, and sacrificed animals offered to the two women buried there. The desperation of the Great Depression. A man holding a morbid sign at the height of the Depression in 1932. About a quarter of Americans were without work, many ending up homeless. Thousands of banks closed, the stock market crashed, and drought dried up farms. This photo captures the bleakness. Babies in gas masks during a drill. London Hospital, 1940. Nurses carry babies in cocoon-like baby gas respirators during a gas attack drill. The device enclosed the baby's body except for their legs, which hung out. They were preparing for possible poison gas raids. A kamikaze plane's imprint on a British ship. The plane imprint left on HMS Sussex on July 26, 1945, when a Japanese kamikaze crashed into it. Luckily, the hull was strong enough to withstand impact, causing only minor damage. A powerful reminder of how intense the Pacific War was. French knife grinders worked lying down. Nicknamed yellow bellies, French knife grinders in the 1900s worked on their stomachs to prevent back pain. Their workshops were usually cold and damp, so they had dogs sit on their legs for warmth. A baby playing with young alligators. Early 1900s at the Los Angeles Alligator Farm in Lincoln Heights, California. A baby sitting in a pen surrounded by young alligators might seem shocking, but such close contact was viewed as harmless family entertainment back then. Testing a bulletproof vest with a live shot. Two salesmen from the Protective Garment Corporation of New York in 1923 demonstrating their lightweight bulletproof vest invention. The live demonstration took place at the Washington City Police Department in front of several officers who watched in awe. A lion tamer who pushed his luck too far. Circus performer Jack Bonavita poses with 13 lions in his act, The Armchair. While sitting in a chair, he'd order the lions to sit around him. He eventually branched into working with polar bears, a decision that proved fatal. The Klondike Gold Rush captured on film. Miners and prospectors climbing the Chilkoot Trail in 1898 during the Klondike Gold Rush of 1896 to 1899. An estimated 100,000 people followed this brutal trail to reach the gold fields in the Klondike region of Yukon, Canada. A 4,000-pound elephant seal getting a snow bath. Roland was a massive sea elephant living at the Berlin Zoo from the late 1920s until World War II. Here's his handler giving him a snow bath, a fascinating display of trust between human and 4,000-pound predator. Torch fishing in Hawaii with kukui nuts. A Hawaiian fisherman in 1948 holding a torch made from kukui nuts. This traditional practice, passed down through generations, involved illuminating shallow waters to attract octopi and rockfish for spearing. Boy with toy hand grenade in Central Park. Diane Arbus captured this iconic 1962 photograph of a young boy showing exasperation and frustration. In his right hand, he holds a toy grenade, his left hand tense. The image captures childhood rage and alienation on the edges of New York society. The steam man that turned out to be a sham, invented by Zadok P. Dedrick and Isaac Grass in 1868. This contraption was meant to pull a small carriage using steam from the boiler in its chest. People in Newark and New York initially paid top dollar to see it. By 1870, the media had labeled it a sham. A suffragist riding a motor scooter to work. Lady Florence Norman in London around 1916, riding an autoped motor scooter. It was a birthday present from her husband. Like other early motorized scooters in the 1910s, it was marketed to women as convenient city transport before quickly fading from popularity. A dying language captured on film. Ainu people of northern Japan at the turn of the 20th century. Forced assimilation since the 18th century nearly wiped out their language. By 1966, only 300 native speakers remained. By 1980, fewer than 100. Today, the Ainu language is likely extinct with no known native speakers. Making 101 Dalmatians. On set in 1961. The film marked a shift from Disney's earlier magical animated movies to something contemporary and grounded in realism. Its success spawned a media franchise, 2 animated TV series, and live-action remakes in 1996 and 2000. An iron lung ward before the polio vaccine. Rancho Los Amigos Hospital in Downey, California, 1953. Before widespread vaccination began in 1955, polio patients unable to breathe on their own were treated in large iron lung wards. The machines kept them alive by forcing air in and out of their lungs. Nikola Tesla's final photograph. In 1943, 86-year-old Tesla was photographed for the last time. He passed away that same year on January 7th from coronary thrombosis. Having spent his final years in quiet isolation, his lifeless body was only discovered 2 days later in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. Air travel in wicker chairs inside a commercial airplane in 1930. The wicker seating can be traced back to Imperial Airways. This was popular across airlines throughout the 1920s. By the turn of the 1930s, leather padding and lining were introduced to make chairs more comfortable. Indian troops facing new warfare technology. During World War I, over 1 million Indian troops served overseas. About 74,000 lost their lives, mostly due to facing new war technologies like machine guns and poison gas they weren't equipped to handle. The Statue of Liberty seen from the torch. A rare perspective looking down from the torch at the top of the head. Following the Black Tom explosion of July 30th, 1916, the statue suffered structural damage. Authorities permanently closed the torch to the public after that. The Cuyahoga River on fire. Firemen stand on a bridge over the Cuyahoga River in November 1952 as an oil slick ignites at a shipyard. The fire destroyed everything, including the Arizona tugboat pictured. The blaze got little media attention in 1952, but images were later used in coverage of another fire on the same river in 1969. The world's largest brewery. The view across the cask yard at St. James's Gate Guinness Brewery between 1906 and 1913. Established in 1759, it had an annual output of 1.2 million barrels by 1886, making it the world's largest brewery and one of Dublin's most outstanding employers. Training for chemical warfare in 1941. A British soldier at Hengistbury Head near Bournemouth, wearing a gas mask and advancing through a smoke screen. This was common drill during World War II to prepare soldiers for chemical warfare and battlefield conditions. Children collecting treats during Fastelavn, carrying rattle boxes or small cans to collect money and treats during Fastelavn, a Nordic carnival tradition celebrated 7 weeks before Easter. Children dress up in costumes, go door-to-door singing, and gather treats for the Fastelavn feast. A mannequin head recovered at sea in 1947, underwater for years while sponges grew on it. For people with trypophobia, fear of strange patterns and holes, this is nightmare fuel. Sufferers experience fear and nausea when looking at items with holes or indentations. This sponge-covered head would send them running. The Montauk Monster. July 2008, East Hampton native Jenna Hewitt spotted this unidentifiable creature on ditch plains, beaches of Long Island. As journalists and cryptozoologists flocked to the scene, theories exploded. Dead raccoon? Pit bull? Some pointed to Plum Island, a secretive animal disease center nearby. Theories that it was an escaped lab experiment persist to this day. Posed with a reindeer during the Lapland War between Finland and Nazi Germany in 1944. The Finnish army used reindeer to pull sleighs carrying supplies through Lapland's snowy conditions in Finland's northernmost region. A yoga guru blesses Woodstock. Swami Satchidananda speaking to a massive crowd at Woodstock on August 15, 1969. Festival organizers asked the yoga guru and religious teacher to bring calm and bless the crowd with his powerful invocation, calling for harmony during the Vietnam War era. Paris booming between the wars. A bustling street market in Paris in 1920. After World War I ended in 1918 and until the Great Depression in 1931, the French economy boomed. Paris emerged not just as a commercial hub, but as the capital of art, music, literature, and cinema. If you enjoyed the video and want a part 3, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.